Hello, Sharif here. And today we're going to do a few different things. I'm going to continue the conversation that we've been having regarding intention and expand that conversation for you to look at your intentions or our intentions. We're also going to talk about the change in format of this live cast here, and but we'll do that in the second part of our time. The first part of our time will be occupied with our subject, and then we'll start talking about content later. But the first thing we're going to do, as we have done for the past month or so, is get our meditation together. Um, I am going to set my timer so that we will spend 5 minutes on our meditation. It says 4 right now, but now it says 5. And I'm going to invite you to get yourself centered. And I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. Um, Square your body so that your spine is nice and straight and you are breathing easy. I'm going to invite you to breathe deeper. Inviting you to breathe even deeper and settle into your heart, settle into your peace. You should be preparing to re-enter your total being and participate. And I will invite you to open your eyes and we can get started. Open your eyes, and if you're like me today, put your glasses on so you can see what's going on. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Preparing for this, I started thinking a lot about the question of intention. What is it that you intend to do? I would say that most of us uh, don't think about that question. We don't answer that question. We move through our world on automatic. From where I park my car, where I'm going, determine. I need to make one, two, or three different turns depending on what part of town I'm going into and what I'm going to do there. And for 2 or 3 blocks, I can drive my car not having any idea where I'm going. And then when I get to the first intersection where I've got to make a choice between north, east, or west, it's like, oh, I guess I'm going to this restaurant over here because the car is heading that way now. And so yeah, most of us live our lives kind of on automatic like that, and it works. You get where you're going. You don't run into people in ways that you don't want to run into them. Um, we we wind up living our lives like that, even when we don't want to live our lives like that. Um, when you think about how how do things get as messed up as they are? How do we mess up our ecology? How do we mess up our social structures? How do we mess up all of these things? The answer is we do this because we are on autopilot, because we're moving through the world without intention, etc. I used to have a habit, um, and when I was in a state where I was allowed to pump my own gas, not true in Oregon, except it's going to start being true in the near future, which is too bad. Um, I, as I'm pumping my gas, I would say out loud to myself, if I'm the only person there, and to anybody else, if they're standing nearby, I don't want to pump fossil fuels into my car. I want to have a clean alternative to doing this. And um, the purpose was for me to be clear with my own intention that even though I'm pumping the fossil fuels in, I don't want to be doing that. I want to live in a different world. So it's making a statement of a different world. I want to pump hydrogen into my car. Okay. Um, the waste product of having burned hydrogen is called water. Um, and I think it's a waste product we all can live with. Um, and so the challenge that we've got is, are we up to our challenges? The challenge that we've got is in each one of our um, global challenges. Can we identify what our intention is? This is okay. So this is a really important point. What is our intention around security? One level of looking at that intention is, we have to transform all of our apparatus regarding security because it's all based on violence. It's based on cultural violence. One of the problems that we have in terms of the number of African Americans that get killed by the police is simply that we as a society have not faced our own violence. Okay, this is just one of the bubbles of the 12 global challenges. Well, you interview Black people and you find that they're all over the map regarding security. Some of them don't care at all. Some of us don't care at all. Some of us, I remember the NACP came out with a bold statement that they were going to oppose knee holds, holding people down on the ground with the police officer's knee after the George Floyd murder, without thinking, what's the whole thing about? Let's do a global think about what all this is about. Um, the and then Black Lives Matter comes up with the statement of defund the police, which does absolutely nothing for security, which is nothing. Does absolutely nothing for the not creating more George Floyd incidents. So we wind up going blah blah blah, and we wind up talking about this, but we never state what our intentions are. So that's what we are going to be doing with Common Way. That's what we are going to be doing starting next month. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. Um, okay, well, one thing is going through every element of this so that of the 12 global challenges so that you know what your intentions are, so that we know, all of us know what your intentions are. And this is something that we don't even do with our leaders, let alone ourselves. And that we together can start to change the picture about what it looks like for us to live in a society. I'm going to suggest some things to you. One of the reasons we don't focus on our intentions is that if you intend something, you've got to live with the results of your intention. Say that again, and it's on the screen. If you intend something, you must live with the results of your intention. If you're not willing to live with the results of your intention, maybe you shouldn't be intending things. The results of your intention is what you want to have happen. The results of your intention is what are the logical consequences of your action. You get behind the wheel of a car after having drunk a fifth of tequila, nothing good's going to happen. I can guarantee you. Whether you think, "Oh yeah, sure, I can drive," that's called wishful thinking. But the harm you cause to the car, the harm you cause to other human beings and other living beings, and the harm you cause to yourself is all a function of your intention. Maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't be um, uh, intending things like that. If you decide something, you must live with the results of your decision. It's one of the reasons why our leaders don't like leading. They don't like making decisions. They want to hide behind the results of their indecision. They want to say, "Oh, I didn't intend that," okay, or blame someone else when what they decide doesn't turn out the way that they want it to do. I remember way back when, in the last presidential, no, the next to the last presidential election, when Trump was just running and he had a crowded field to contend with. And he made a number of bold statements. And one of them was he was going to put up this huge wall between the US and Mexico border that it would keep all of the Mexicans out, and that Mexico was going to pay for it. He was going to make Mexico pay for it. And I'm sitting there listening to him and saying, well, that's really interesting. Oh, I'm going to have a bowl of popcorn and a glass of kombucha, and I'm going to be sitting there watching how he's going to make a sovereign country pay for the border wall. And of course he didn't. And of course, no one holds him to his decisions. And of course, he never holds himself to any of his decisions. And so it's how our situation keeps going further and further downhill. Okay. The third part is, if you act, you must live with the consequences, the results of your action. All these things are connected to each other, so that you recognize that, and I think there's awful lot of people who don't understand this. They think that being a leader is standing in front of a bunch of folks, making your mouth move, and people patting you on the back and thinking good things about you. Since the time I was 11 years old, and since I'm only 13 now, it's not too many years ago. But since I was 11 years old, I've been considered a leader. And that moment was solidified for me. We had formed an organization called the Black People's Unity Movement. And we were, back in the days that people were called Black militants, we were very, let's say, talkative. And I remember the first demonstration I attended was for better housing in Camden, New Jersey. And we were marching down Haddon Avenue, which is a major street leading towards City Hall, blocking traffic. There's about 200 or 300 of us. And we had a bullhorn asking people to come out and lead and join the march, join the demonstration. And somewhere in the process, and I was near the front of the crowd, someone handed me the bullhorn. Now, to this day, I can't remember what I said, but I remember two things happening. I remember when I was talking, people 2 or 3 blocks ahead of me, ahead of the march, were coming to their doors and looking. And I remember when the march got to their doors that they came out into the street and joined the demonstration. And this is again me at 11 years old. I'm pretty sure my voice hadn't broken by that time. And I'm getting this response from people, that people are listening and are actually changing their behavior based on whatever the heck I was saying. Now, this is a very powerful moment for me, and that moment has stuck with me through 45 different countries, through 120, 130, 150 different cultures, through really elevating times and really being at the absolute bottom of my despair. And all through that, there is this question of power and leadership. we begin to think that because we can burn down a building, that we have power, and we don't. We don't. One day when we'll have a couple of hours, I'll tell you all about how that doesn't give you any power, but you don't. That being angry is the opposite of power, of not knowing what your goal is, not even having a goal, means you don't have power. Give you a couple more stories, and then we're going to switch gears to uh, something else. Um, when I was in law school, there's this constant issue regarding the number of Black law students that were admitted to Boston University Law School. Boston BU was in direct competition with other universities with bigger names like Harvard and Yale and Stanford. And they, BU was admitting Black students, obviously, but their numbers were not going up and were not on par with what they should be. At the time, I was the head of the Black students, the Black American Law Student Association at BU. And we were in negotiations with the administration regarding having more Black students in the law school. And we had told them that we were going to do something. They were going to, if they didn't take action, we were going to take some level of action. And I had no idea what we were going to do at the time, but we were going to do something. And the Dean Stickles, invited me to his office, and he said, "I'm going to put you on the admissions committee," me personally. And he said, he had a stack of applications on his desk. He said, "These are all the Black students that applied, that we can identify that applied to Boston University." And then he gave me a much smaller stack. And he said, "These are the ones we accepted for next year." He said, "On your recommendation and your recommendation only, I'm going to take any student that you recommend from this pile, the pile of rejects, and accept them. So you take it, and that gets sworn as secrecy and non-disclosure and all this other stuff." He says, "You take these home over the weekend and read first of all the students that we accepted, and then read the ones that we rejected, and tell me which ones you are going to recommend that we move to the acceptance pile." Took them home, read them over the weekend, came back, handed it all back to him, and I said, "I wouldn't have accepted some of the students you did accept. Accepting someone into law school that doesn't know how to write a sentence is not doing them a favor. Accepting them just to say, oh, we've got to accept somebody, isn't doing the system a favor." And this is true in every single career advocation, profession, etc. That the problem is way the hell down in elementary school. Okay, and if you're trying to fix it at the level of, you've graduated from college in some way, we don't even know how you graduated, not knowing how to write a sentence, and you're about to go into a professional school not knowing how to write a sentence, there's something wrong with the system. Now, those of us who have been focusing on creating a world that works for all living beings knows there's something fundamentally wrong with the system. The system needs to be transformed into its next phase. It needs to be transformed into the butterfly phase. There's nothing bad or wrong with a caterpillar. It's just inappropriate if it needs to be a butterfly. So as we're doing this, we're looking at the who do I need to be? Who do I need to be in order for this transformation to take place? Who do I need to be in order for my my work to be meaningful and my work to be satisfying? Okay. Um, I am going to switch our gears for a few minutes. Um, and that's to talk about what happens starting next week. So, starting next week, we're changing from the live stream format. And the reason we're doing the change is that that this has not been successful. Um, we started off with our numbers low, and the idea was over time, the word of mouth, people would start talking, more people would get involved, and then we would have numbers that were significant. Okay, um, and given what needs to happen in our society, and given that there are millions of people who should be acting on this, those our number should be very significant, and they're just not. Um, done everything that I can do to generate better and different and more numbers, and this is the part where you say, okay, that part's not working, so we're going to do something different. The different thing is, number one, I'm still going to be talking every week the way that I'm talking now, but it won't be live. Um, and most of the people who are connecting with this broadcast are not doing it live. I mean, so the handful of people who come live, there are 30, 40, 50, 60, up to 100 people who attend through the recording. Um, so it's going to be uh, a recording option, and if you are signed in to the YouTube channel, you'll get a notice every time and you've got notifications clicked. You'll get a notice every time I've got a new video up, and that's going to be a couple of times a week. They're going to be in two different formats. One format is going to be the short video, literally 1 minute, and it's just going to be food for thought. Think about this. Thanks a lot. Goodbye. That's it. Then once a week or so, maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, maybe once every couple of weeks, we'll see what the frequency is. There'll be a longer recording. Okay. That will be up to a half an hour, maybe up to an hour or so. And this will be taking a concept, a topic, and working it. Like, for example, I've talked about the issue of intention now over three of our half-hour broadcasts here, live casts. So that's an hour and a half worth of conversation around the concept of intention. Um, I'll be spending a couple of hours on the 12 global challenges, and a number of other um, topics. And the purpose of this is that by the time we get to our launch date in March of 2024, all of you, are going to have the opportunity to have to be grounded in the concepts that will make the new society. You'll be grounded in inclusivity. You'll be grounded in a world for all. What does a world for all mean? You'll be grounded in the all of the things that have been that are central to this thinking that we're calling common way. So that way, you will be um, ready to act, and not only ready to act, but certified to act. That if you attend all of these programs, and if you are fully participating in the programs, we go somewhere together, and where we go together is the launching of this thing that I'm calling the Nation of Gaia. What does that mean? You'll find out. What are the resources that we're going to be dealing with? You'll find out. Um, are you going to wait to find out the resources to get involved? I hope not, because this river is moving, and we're moving with the river. It's taking us, launching us somewhere. So both through content, through discussion, through training, we get to the point where we're going to have a group of people who are certified to act, and who will then be acting, and will be acting in a way that is going to be for the good of all, for the good um, of literally all living beings. Um, and if no one wants to do that, that will be okay. One of the reasons I write the books, and one of the reasons I do the movies, is to be able to say to people when they start waking up, folks, been talking about this for a while, but the exit's over that way, or the entrance is over that way. We need to start getting ourselves in alignment here. So thank you to those who hung into the live stream format. If interest goes up through the new format, through the weekly reporting, we can always go back to this, but we'll leave this format for right now. If you are a member of Commonway, if you've subscribed to Commonway, go to www.commonway.org and hit the subscribe button at the bottom of the page, of every page. You'll get notice of the videos as they're coming out. If you subscribe to this channel, if you get the notifications for this channel, you'll get the notifications of every video that comes out, and we will do our work together. I'm looking forward to that happening. We will see what we are to see, and how we're going to do it. So for the last time on the live stream, I want to say, may all beings be well. May all beings be secure. And may all beings be happy. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Whether you've attended live or whether you've attended through recording, I do appreciate you. And I look forward to us continuing to work together. Bye.